Freilich Chanukah, everybody. Happy Hanukkah. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, let us continue. Let us continue with our mimer. Hasidic discourse. So the refinement of the world, which is the idea of the soul that comes down into this world, settles in this world. The Yeshiv Yaakov Ba'aretz. So the soul in the name of, which is the name of Yaakov, being righteous, settles in this world, dealing with this world with the Miguri Aviv, the settlings of his father, which is referring his father of the soul, referring to God, the sparks of God that's in everything in this world. We have to bring a settlement to it, meaning reveal the sparks of the divine in everything in this world. And we do that because Miguri Aviv also means the reverence of our Father, the reverence of God. And that gives us the power that we can do it. How do we do it? We do it with through the Avodah, through the divine service of three paths. Torah, the study of Torah, as we're doing now, Avodah, prayer, Gemilas Chosadim, and the acts of loving kindness. Right. Now, all of that needs to be first prompted by a sense of reverence of God. Otherwise, you could be doing it for your own sake, for your own benefit, rather than a desire to connect to God. So when we have that reverence, then we are able to, through three paths rather, make a refinement of this world. And as in the verse that it says that Yaakov is the one, who's doing this, referring to the soul, but also, referring to Yaakov in the sense of who's Yaakov, the third of the three forefathers, the chosen one of them. Avram embodied loving kindness. Yitzchak embodied reverence and and awe and dread of the divine. Yaakov is beauty, and beauty meaning that something is beautiful combines has a symmetry to it that combines two opposites um, to making colors that don't clash but come together. That's beautiful. And that's Yaakov. He's the embodiment of that, which is a concept of compassion. He combines it, right? And that's further the number three, right? So he's the third, his grandfather, Avram, his father, Yitzchak, and then him, right? He's the third. But he's not just number three, but he's also the embodiment of, the combination of the two that preceded him, um, which also represents the Jewish people that are made up of three, Kohen, Levi, and Israel, um, and which makes up the Jewish people in that we received at Mount Sinai, our marching orders is as a people that we became a people, right? The the continuation of Yaakov in the third month and the third day of preparation. By the third, also, um, you know, Miriam and Aaron were older than Moshe, than Moses. He was the third child. And so everything was the idea of three. And so it's done by the third. The people who are metaphorically the idea of three. Um, and what are they doing? Three paths, right? And so therefore we can understand, appreciate now this idea of he brought down at the beginning of this mimer that this is what our sages say, Pada b'shalom nafshi, that my soul was redeemed in peace, than anybody who studies Torah. Not study, actually, Isik b'Torah, which means um, um, involved in it, engaged in it. Maybe that's the right word in English. Right, engaged in the study of Torah, in the acts of loving kindness, in prayer, that as if we redeem God, right? Well, how do we redeem God? Because the sparks of godliness that are found in every material thing, right? That is used out in a refined way, right? That are used out in a refined way. We elevate the sparks of the divine that are in every physical thing in this world, and that's how we redeem God. Because the sparks of God are in everything in this world, in this world that He creates. But it's in klipa. It's in a shell that's covered over on the divine that's there, and therefore we redeem God and we redeem the Jewish people from the nations, literally, right? The nations who have a control over the Jewish people. As we see, even Israel is controlled by others, right? Who have their own, agenda. Let's be quite frank about that. So, the land of Israel is literally, being controlled. So that we won't be controlled. Because we'll do the godly thing rather than the political, expedient thing. Right. So this is the whole purpose of the soul coming down into this world, is in order to have an exaltedness through the tshuva, through the return that we do, that the neshama, um, right? So the soul comes down over here, and its tshuva, its return, is not for the soul itself. It's not that the soul should return back to heaven. That's not why the soul came over here. And it's like most people, in other faiths, and even in Judaism, you could have this mistaken notion that, God's out there to test me, and the world's a challenge, and I got to get through this test. And if I get through this test, I'll be able to go back to heaven and not go downstairs to Gehenna, right? That's how most people view their, from a religious point of view. That's not what we're saying here at all, because the soul didn't come down here for the sake of the soul. It came down here in order to make a refinement, to exalt the sparks that are in this world. And therefore, our avodah, our divine service, is in these three areas, of the study of Torah down here. The acts of loving kindness down here. The act of prayer down here, right? Which actually bring an elevation to the divine attributes of Chesed, Gvur, and Tiferes, of these three attributes above. But of course, the main thing is not that we're just affecting above, meaning the divine order of things, but we're actually, through our divine service in these three areas, we make a refinement to this world. That is the ultimate purpose. Now, with this, now we can understand, which we started a while back, for your Tizkiyah slide, the two explanations of Pada B'Shalom Nafshi, two explanations of what it means to redeem my soul in peace. Right, the simple meaning was that God redeems us through our study of Torah, acts of loving kindness, and prayer. Prayer, in synagogue in particular. Why? Because, hey, God is the Redeemer, right? He's got that power. He can redeem us, right? That's a simple meaning. In other words, we're in exile right now. And even though what happened this past Sunday, you might think it feels otherwise, but exile means we're in a dream, right? Learning about Joseph's dreams, Pharaoh's dreams, dream. That's what exile is, a dream. A dream could, a dream you're not in control of. Well, exile, we don't see to be in control, right? A dream can be opposite from what reality is. A dream, we don't have the power of our minds and hearts. We're lying down, the mind and the heart are equal. Now I'm sitting, the head, when I'm awake, the head is above the heart. The head can feed the heart. The mind can feed the heart. Our intelligence feeds the heart. And, you know what's right. You learn Torah. It feeds your heart that you become more connected. Feeds your emotions. It feeds your actions. When you're sleeping, it doesn't work that way at all, right? Everything's equal when you're lying in bed. So, yet in that time that we're asleep, God, he's not asleep. He doesn't sleep or slumber, the protectorate of Israel. That God is protecting us spiritually and physically. Until we become redeemed from this exile. And as I again repeat, didn't, we believe that even though our eyes didn't see that on Sunday in Sydney, Australia. But we know that that's the truth. Hashem should let our eyes see that at all times. Now, through that, it creates, right, God redeeming us, that through our avodah of these three paths, that we redeem God. And that redemption is even greater than what God redeems us. That's a very powerful idea. The fact that we redeem God and redeem us at the same time, meaning our redemption is that we're using, hey, this is this example. This is like the greatest tool today of klipa, of negativity, right? Um, in addictive behavior, so addictive that even young people, right, that they have to ban it in places, so young people can't go on social media because of its. So we need, in other words, yes, God created it, so therefore there has to be some way to elevate it, the sparks of God that animate. And that's us, the birur, the refinement, that we use it in a way that it brings out godliness and not the opposite. It's, most of the world is bringing out the opposite, not in just in content and just of scrolling. Right? That we scroll. It's klipa. Right? Now we're very exacting. In the idea over here, it says in the Medrash where it says that we redeem God, it's through what we call asik mentioned before, an engagement. In other words, right now, we could be here, but, we're half paying attention. We're not fully engaged. The type of Torah that redeems God, redeems the sparks in this world, is total engagement. What does it mean, total engagement? So, like the word is ASIC. ASIC means it's your business. You treat your Torah study like business. Business, if you own a business, you're not just thinking about it when you're 9 to 5 in the shop or in the office, right? You're thinking about it all the time because it's your business, right? Well, same thing as your Torah study. It's your business. So it means it's not just when we're learning here at Chassidus, but if you learn it in such a way it's your business, you carry it through the day. You're thinking about it. Can you imagine? Can you imagine just like eating breakfast and thinking about what we learned? Like what an audacity that you shouldn't think about how good the food tastes and how, I'm having such pleasure. Imagine what an audacity. Yes, that's called real total engagement. That's called making your Torah study your business. Yeah, I don't mean your business that, yeah, as you run your business. That's the When you do that, then guess what? When the things that are your personal own business, meaning eating breakfast, you'll sanctify that breakfast. You'll really elevate that breakfast experience because it'll be together with your Torah study, right? That is true redemption. That's how we redeem God in this world. That's how we redeem ourselves, right? And these two things, when we are engaged in such a way that, like our business, it's personal, so personal that we take it with us, right? Again, when you own your business, you're working for somebody else, it's not your business, but it's your business. And now you're in the middle of breakfast and you, oh, Pond. You know what? Let's do this. Let's 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 do this in the business. It'll make us a nice profit. So imagine you're eating your breakfast and oh, wow, okay, now I understand this idea much more profoundly. I know how it ties into my day today and how my day is going to be different. Yes, breakfast will never be the same. Yeah, that is true redemption. Okay, we'll be lucky and we'll finish it tomorrow, and then we'll do a Hanukkah discourse. All right, folks. Amazing. A nice crowd here today. Beautiful. Um, we will see you.